Fridays won't be Fridays without Rachel anymore. For Rachel, this Friday is an almighty bore. Thought that it would be okay, but now it doesn't seem that way.
My name is Danny McAvoy, and I am a busker. I sing in the street. I sing Beatles songs in the street. I'm wearing the shoes that I found. The shoes that I found today, I found them in a bin in Eastbourne Station. So, and I thought, oh, there's a bit of shoes there. So I picked them out the bin in Eastbourne Station and tried them on, and they fit me. So I'm wearing, those are the shoes that I'm wearing at this very moment. The ones that I found in a bin. Yeah. Because I was an art teacher, I used to have to clean them then. Because like when you're a teacher, you've got to be a grown-up, haven't you? And you've got to like kind of clean your shoes. But I'm not a teacher anymore, so I don't have to be a grown-up anymore. So I don't have to clean the shoes. I don't want to clean shoes anyway. It's a waste of time, you know. Could be writing songs instead, you know, or drawing. Well, I've always been a busker, really. But the problem is being like, is when you're a teacher, right, you can't be a real person. You can't be a human being, right? And you can't swear when everybody does. You can't have a Facebook account with a life when everybody does, you know. I don't think you're supposed to have sex after you if you're a teacher, you know. But you can't be a real person as a teacher. You can't swear. You can't do anything. It's just crap. And I'd had enough really. So I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to pretend. I don't want to live a life of pretense. I want to get my guitar and I want to sing some Beatles songs, and there you go, and that's it. And that's what I want to do.
Probably I've got about 60 pairs of shoes, I should think. I've never counted them. I use a lot of them. I mean, I've got some that I've bought just because they're lovely. I mean, the last pair I bought because they were lovely, I've worn once. And I went out with one of my friends there one day, and it's quite a small town place that she goes in, and there's this lovely shop which sells new and nearly new clothes, but the longer they have them, the less money they are. And these I found there. So we had a magic morning looking at all sorts of things, and I bought these because they were just lovely.
Me being me at the time, I was wearing an all black outfit, and I was thinking to myself, I really want something to stand out. It's the first time I've ever done like a red carpet event or anything like that, and I remember going to Vivienne Westwood's store on, I think it's Dover Street in London, where it's just off Regent Street, literally just moments from where I used to live. And I saw these fabulous pair of shoes, which are in the style of like a Gucci loafer. But what I liked was the tassels and the fact that the whole shoe was from one mold, as you can see, and it's just fantastic because the material of the product is like almost plastic. It's just unreal. I just took to it straight away, and I just thought that is just so Andre for this moment. What are those monstrosities you have on your feet? Oh my God, what you got there? And then the other people are like, those are fantastic. You know, it was so up and down. And as you can maybe see, I don't know if the camera can actually see that, is I haven't actually cleaned them, and I've only worn them the once. And as you can see, they're quite dirty. I had a very good night that night. Free champagne and free canapes, etc., etc. I even met Lenny Kravitz that night, and I had my picture taken with him, which was very cool.
I've worked here since I left school. I've done 46 years near now. Yeah, so and I'm pretty sure, I think we are the oldest shoe retailer in Sussex now. That was the old shop front, and that was taken in 1932. My great-grandfather started in the repair side of the business in Victoria Road in the 1890s, and then he decided to go into retail, and he bought this shop in 1904, and it's been a shoe shop ever since, and it went from my great-grandfather down to my grandfather, my great-uncle, and then to my mother and father, and then down to myself, my late brother, and my wife, and then when my late brother died, I brought my daughter into it, who's now 5th generation.
We didn't do the conventional wedding, it was raining, Halloween, stuff like that. So they were black shoes, and but I just thought they were the most comfortable things I could wear for a whole day of running around and dancing and stuff.
The marriage didn't fit like a glove?
20 years later now. 20 years is not bad though, is it?
I was wearing these and a green denim suit one evening. I can't remember where I'd been, but at the time my parents were living in Knebworth Road. I think I'd come down to the weekend from London, where I was living for a short period of time. And I just fancied a drink before I went home, so I tottered up to the Denby. I've just tried to walk in these and it's very difficult. So I must have walked from the station all the way up to the Denby, and there happened to be a friend of mine there with a group of people, and so he said, "Oh, come and join us." So I sat down at the table, and opposite me was this gorgeous girl, you see. So instead of speaking to him, I talked to her all night, and this was the first time I ever met my wife. I've just kept them because they're, well, you can't throw things like this away, can you? They're just...
Always a boundary between staff and inmate, always there has to be.
Yes, so that...
But on the wings, I've played cards with prisoners,
Yeah.
dominoes and things like that. Oh, they did pound landings.
Pound landings?
Yeah, they did. They were at Manchester, they were at Strangeways Riot, those shoes were. I was issued those shoes, they were my second issue somewhere. They'd been 1979.
They do look in very good nick.
Well, I didn't wear them all the time,
Good
but
nick.
they had, I got that, I picked up on it. But I had them redone 3 times, reheated, because they're comfortable. As a prison officer, I never considered it my duty to punish anyone. The courts do that. They send them to prison. I never found anyone guilty or not guilty. The courts do that. Now, people think that the prison officers or the staff are the ones that are doing it. They're not. The courts do it. The staff just obey the orders of the court. Oh, some of them are evil, of course. I did like one died last week, Joe Conlon, who was innocent for one of the Guildford Four. I had him at Long Lartin and Full Sutton. He was discharged from Full Sutton as an innocent man. And the first prisoner I unlocked, it was done to me deliberately, by the way, by the senior officer. He told me to go unlock D1, I can't remember the number, but it was on the first floor of Delta Wing. And that was Reggie Cray I unlocked. I opened his door and there was Cray stood there looking after me. I thought, what the hell am I here for? I was in the service long enough for it to have a profound effect on me. But we used to work ridiculously long hours. Ridiculous. I once worked 98 days without a day off. But you're not allowed to do that now. It made me very distrustful at one stage. I'm not now. I've changed again, changed back to a normal person, I suppose. But you've got to remember that in a long-term prison, the whole population have got nothing to do other than plot and plan. And they do.
I think it was the Nike Air Jordans Retro 4s. They were my favourite pair I bought, just because I got them cheap, very expensive shoes. So I got them fairly cheap and they've lasted me a while.
I like the high heel ones, you see our legs can't take it anymore.
But now she can wear, she is not, but she can wear high heels. I remember we went out one day, she bought a new boot, a high heel one, and I was asking you, are you going to manage for shopping? And she said yes, but we ended up going to a shop because you could not manage to walk anymore. To buy a flat shoe now.
It's coming very much into the culture of younger people at the moment. You've got to have nice hair, nice shoes. It goes really well together.
Well, I brought these shoes in to show you today not because I want to tell a story about myself, but because they remind me of somebody. They're my beach walking shoes, but I've had them quite a long time. They always remind me of a girl that I knew at college called Claire, who was quite a personality, and I felt that she projected herself really well. You got to know her quite quickly, and she had very strong views about things. So the shoes just bring her to mind. She had reddish hair as well, which perhaps that's the connection. I don't know why. I always think of Claire when I see these shoes, and I think she found it quite hard to trust some people. You know, people had let her down in her life, I think. So she was always looking for somebody that she could talk to, and she could feel that they were responding in a way that she found true, you know, honest. And I think maybe she was ahead of me, you know, in quite a lot of ways, because I think when I first started at art college, I hadn't got a clue what it was all about, really. I was very much living in the past, I suppose. And I think Claire was in the moment, and that was probably something that, you know, I would have wanted to be. Maybe she was like a bit like a younger me might have been. I don't know.
But they were comfortable from the instant I put them on. So they looked cool, they felt wonderful, and they went through bog and fire and dust, and they became my perfect companions. It was a blessed relief for everybody when he died, most especially for him. He suffered long and hard. And people, because he couldn't speak, people thought he was stupid, but he was sentient, and so that made it doubly painful. But he would have been very interested to hear my experiences, but I wouldn't have gone if he'd been alive. So that's the quid pro quo of... And I was walking away from the huge sadness of losing him. But very, very exciting, and feeling brave and able to do this on my own. Okay, I was in my 60s, but it didn't matter. I was totally alone, and for the rest of the time, because of my two wonderful children and my fabulous family, you know, then I had huge support with Nick in his illness, his accident, and so this was really me on my own.
These are a pair of brown shoes, very, in my mind, very plain, very dull and very boring. I don't own anything else that's brown I can think of in my wardrobe, certainly not brown shoes. It's still got the half price sticker on. I bought them on a whim, and they were half price, which is probably why I bought them. The last time that I did wear them was back in October, when it was my youngest stepdaughter's funeral. She's only 18. She loved colour, she loved brightness. I think the reason I brought these shoes along today is because it's kind of like a lesson to myself that I should be wearing more colours, because that's me, and that was Charlotte, my stepdaughter, as well, and maybe not conform to what should be, what people expect of you. She wouldn't have minded. She would have probably preferred me to wear the other shoes rather than these ones.
One of those times in your life when what's going on unconsciously is a lot more interesting than what's going on the surface. While I was in Morocco, I had a really interesting experience, which was we were having coffee one day in a cafe, and a woman suddenly rushed past the table and threw a shriveled old date on my plate, which was empty. She just threw it and said something that sounded really angry, it sounded like a curse. It may not have been, but the intention didn't seem friendly, it seemed very hostile. And I remember at the time being quite shaken by that. The last night in Fez, before my friend and I took the plane for Casablanca and finally just severed our friendship, he'd done a tarot reading for me, which was something he liked doing. He liked doing tarot. And he pulled out all these really interesting cards. And I remember at the time that one of the cards suggested transformation, some really quite major transformation. I remember at the time just thinking, oh, that looks really serious. I'm not sure I'm up for that. I mean, all that really happened, I could have done this entire interview in 10 seconds. I got off a plane at Heathrow, fell down some stairs, broke my hip, and within 36 hours had an operation and had my hip replaced. That's all that actually happened. The rest is interpretation and storytelling and, you know, the stuff that we add to life. But it created an interesting hiatus in my life, and it forced me to stop clearly I was on some sort of maybe almost mindless, I'm just moving forward, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing that. And it forced me to kind of just stop. Just savour everything, absolutely everything. Embrace everything, including things that seem good, bad, indifferent, boring, exciting. It's all just stuff. It's all just extraordinary. It's a miracle any of us get to experience what we experience.
My name's Linda Holmes. I live in Bexhill. I have done for a considerable amount of time, and I take the Observer, and I saw this very interesting project advertised in the Observer, and I thought, I've got an interesting pair of shoes, so I'll wear them and come along and see what it's all about. And these are my shoes. I'm very proud of them. I was given them because I was a games maker at the 2012 Olympics. I met a lot of people that on that occasion were there together that you would not have come across in any other kind of whatever event. You know, it did mix so many people together. Yeah.
It's amazing how I have got enough shoe-related things to do for the whole year, for about 100 different things. They're not necessarily shoes, because I've got that you would wear, then quite often I've got ceramic shoes, I've got a key ring which has got shoes on it, I've got a watch strap from Claire's Accessories which is flip-flops. The watch is broken but the watch strap I keep. And I've even got found a doll's foot with a shoe on it that I found in the street, so I picked that up and drew that. And that was actually quite difficult to draw because anatomically it's not like a human foot at all. So it was very strange to draw, and sometimes ceramic shoes quite difficult to draw because they're not anatomically fitted to a real foot, which is interesting.
Yeah, I got the job, and I worked in the care home for like a year. I was on bank staff for like quite a few care homes. I worked in the end of life unit, a dementia care home unit, and a brain injury unit, and I mained in the brain injury. And yeah, that was quite interesting. When you're basically on the brink of death and you're just so old that you have to lie in the bed and have me like wipe your ass. That's pretty much it, yeah. And people die, and then new people come. And it was fun. Like I became friends with a lot of them, but then like that's quite like a bad thing when they die, because then it's just like, whoa, I was their friend and they're just gone. You're looking at me going yes or no, and I'll be like chatting shit. Like, I don't know what to talk about. So I just end up I don't know. I don't really know what I talk about. Just anything. You get a bit nervous. You're like, hell. You can't just look around their room and see what they like and just talk about that. Yeah, it's kind of hard. You know your big toe, yeah, the ball of your big toe. That always burns a hole in your shoe. It always does in mine, and that's kind of annoying. So hopefully that's going to hold out a bit longer. And my heel always burns a hole in the back of the shoe because I get things done so much.
These are my dance shoes, very first dance shoes that I bought, and when I bought them I thought, at last I'm a dancer now because I've got my dance shoes. So I started dancing when 1996, never danced before, so and it's always been my passion. When I was younger, my parents couldn't afford to send me to dance school. My aunt was a ballet dancer, so I was always inspired by her and said, well, she's done it, why can't I? I do remember one incident when I lived in the country and I had one of these record players and I took it into the field and I had some classical music and I just danced. I just danced. There was nobody watching. It was, and I was just Yeah, on my own. But there's a story to that, because at the end of it I was stung by a bee.
My mum bought the shoes because I was really, I was spending weeks in bed, kind of wasting away from various incidents, and she bought them to try and get me moving again because she thought I would probably waste away and die or something. So she bought the shoes. I don't usually have such an emotional connection to a shoe, but these ones I think probably saved me almost. That they made me think that I was strong enough to do anything again. It's led me to do lots of things I would have never done, like longboarding and treading on thermite. I'm not exactly secretive about my depression. It was after a particularly bad breakup, and the only thing that really motivated me was that I thought these shoes would give me power. And when I got them, it was around bonfire night. I went out and my ex was there, and he saw me, and I felt stronger. I was like looking down at my shoes. I remember this, looking down at my shoes, saying, "Yeah, I'm over you. Look how strong I am." Thinking about the shoes.
Well, I'm an endurance runner, so I run everything from 10 miles up to maybe 50, aiming to hit 100 later on in the year. After a certain amount of time on a long enough race, you're going to run out of all your energy supplies. There will be no sugar left in your body, no glycogen, no nothing. So you're going to feel like you've just woken up, you haven't eaten in days, and you're running for some reason. That's pretty much how it feels. And there's still maybe 10 miles left to go. So at that point, you need a really strong motivation to make you continue. You need some unearthly reason to keep you going out there, because no one would, because no one's chasing you. You're not running from danger. You're running towards something, so you have to have that real drive. Like when you hear the real great distance runners, they all talk about running for things. They never talk about running away from things, because you just can't sustain it, because you've got to be doing that kind of thing every day.
One year we did the competition, paint to plate, with something, plants you can eat. And I thought they were doing nasturtiums and things like that, and they nearly all painted a carrot. My favourite shoes are these. They're so comfortable. Everything I buy is floral, hence the dress. Right? We've just done some walking along the seafront this morning. I have a floral, everything I buy is floral. We've got the judges coming actually on Monday for Judge Little Common for South East in Bloom, so I should be there in my favourite shoes and another different floral dress. And in a couple of weeks they come to Judge Bexhill, so it's again my favourite shoes and another floral dress.
I'm Fran.
And I'm Chris. We both live in Lancing, just along the coast.
We've been married for 32 years, 33 this year. It's a long time. And they're shoes that are really comfortable. You don't have to wear socks, you can wear socks. I don't wear them tied up. I can get them soaking wet on the beach, I can get them muddy on the downs. They're just shoes, and I love them. And I love walking my dog, and my dog is my mental health. And as this pair of shoes have been on a journey, I've also been on a journey, over the last 11 years. And coming home is brilliant. But you also leave a lot of things behind when you relocate, and so it's remembering some of the things also that are sort of attached to those shoes.
A whole range of different styles and categories you can put people under, but sort of every category's got their own style of shoes. Sort of the Doc Martens have come back, or the different running shoes are really sort of popular. I think everyone in their different sort of areas of life has got a certain pair of shoes that they will wear to represent their sort of style or fashion.
A tree loaded with divers that were diving down and swimming around, and flames and fire, just absolutely amazing. But the shoes came back from that one in 2009, and as I say, they started to lose their glamour. The laces were gone.
There's actually stuff called Crep Protect, and you can put them on your shoes and it cleans them up or keeps them looking fresh, protects them from stains and stuff, so people looking after them like they look after themselves a bit, really. dirty shoes. No one likes dirty shoes.
This year, my daughter moved house. Unfortunately, she split with her husband and was on her own and needed a lot of help. She needed some painting done. And it was with great sadness that I took out from the back of the cupboard my pair of Skechers Comforts and wore them because I knew I was going to be on my feet all day, but in a way I knew that was the beginning of the end of the shoes, and now they are just my painting shoes.
I've walked round Bexhill, I don't know how many times, and also I've been walking to Galley Hill with my friend John about 3 times a day, and when I start walking, I'm like, I can't stop. It's like the madam over there, she can't stop walking too. Have a good day.
Down. Ruffy, sit. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Well, I was suddenly tempted to say my name is Clarice, because that's a name I have somewhere else where they call me Clarice, because they find it very difficult to say Glenys. So I've got used to be called Clarence and Clarice. I was working in London. It was very tiring, yeah.
What were you doing in London?
I was doing several things. I was teaching a lot, and yeah, too much. I'm walking towards an open road and a different kind of tribe. I'm looking for a different kind of tribe to join, who are more like-minded people to hang out and talk about art and creativity and music and peace and a way of looking at community, which is sorry, I'll try and walk. Now I'm at home.
I'm wearing them on a hen night, which Becky is getting married.
She's wearing them on the 12th of July, aren't you?
Yeah, 12th of July, and I do have another picture of all the girls are wearing heels, so I don't want to be wearing a short one. Shoes, black leggings, and a vest top. And I'm on that.
Right, here we go. We do that one? Is that alright?
Yeah.
Okay, and then this is called firstly, put that, go back, go forward, back, go forward. You do this 3 times. Okay, now I'm going to take you out back, twist you round like that. Okay, and then you can do a really nice. Just walk now, walk back. No, come back with me. Just walk back 1, 1, 2. Let's go back again. 1, 2. 1, 2.
I've had various jobs, but I was a merchant seaman for many years and basically have travelled to many, many countries. Last year they went all around Sydney Harbour, and then I was in Melbourne. They went all around Melbourne and over to Sorrento, and they've done a few trips up and down Bexhill seafront, and they've done a few trips around the Olympic site in London. And this weekend they went from Beckton to Stratford to see the Olympic sites, and then they just said, no more, we're dead. They've gone. They've done their dust. And earlier this year they went up the Amazon, and they went round a few Caribbean islands and on a few beaches, a few jungle treks, and now they're finished. No good but for join the rest of the worn out old shoes and boots for the hair. Seeing the sights. There's nothing like travelling, and you need a good pair of shoes because the way to see a city when you go somewhere is to walk around it.
So I was coming back, someone just told me something terrible has happened. I was coming downstairs, my husband was coming out from the lounge, and he said, "Sweetheart," I said, "something has happened, isn't it?" He said, "Mm-hmm." Then I said, "It's Mom, isn't it?" And he just said, "I'm sorry, I'm very sorry. Mom has passed away." So I got my wedding dress. I came back with the wedding dress I wore for the wedding, the traditional outfit, the beads and everything, the shoes I wore for the wedding, and I wore that shoe just once and it's been in my cupboard, so I looked at it most of the time, and I only wore the shoe for a couple of hours, just to the church, and when I came back where they were having a reception, I took it off. And that was it, so it's boxed, it's in my wardrobe. So, that's my story.
Your sweet, sad story. Yes.
During the summer holidays from school, we didn't wear shoes or sandals. Just ran about bare feet. Didn't think much about it because children don't, and was reminded we were barefooted when we stood on a bee on a clover or a flower of some kind. Didn't bother us. But when we went back to school after 6 weeks holiday, it was strange going back into shoes. I miss the friendliness that people used to have. I miss the neighbourliness as well from the neighbours. It's gone. I miss the quietness of the people. It seems to be very loud nowadays and hostile. That's how I see it.
These shoes I brought in Sports Direct for 1999, 2 years ago. They've walked around India for 9 months. Yes?
Yeah.
They've come back, they walked all the way around the top of Africa, Aswan, all the way through Luxor, all the way through Giza. They've done well. They're just starting to go now if you can get the soles and the heels. Just starting to go.
And when you say walk, you mean walk. You do a lot of trekking.
Walk.
Right.
These feet were made for walking. The purpose of the journey is to be enlightened, because we all walk through this world, too busy to stop and actually live. We're all too busy working. So I stopped working and started to live.
Are you a solo traveller?
I'm a solo traveller, yes.
You pick up people as you go?
I pick up no one.
You pick up no one?
No, only enlightenment. This is a good against evil, the elements of the earth, the sun, the wind, the fire. The swastika, the symbol of love, not Hitler. Angels, devil, good against evil. Inner peace, flower of life. The Tibetan knot, the Sagarta, Chumbakadu, Sanskrit, 20,000 years old.
Today and
in the south of India, they come and touch me on this side of the head and said, "Namaste, namaste," because this is a symbol from the temples of India. And on this side, this is Chumbakadu, that translates to unconditional love for life, people, and humanity. It's Tibetan, Sanskrit, 20,000 years old.
How does your how does your practice affect your life, your day-to-day life?
My life is my practice.
Okay. So kindness being...
Kindness, open and honest. Yes. Smile, positive, away with all the negative. Well, if you steer your life away from all negativity, your life will just automatically become positive. It's as simple as that. It's just people don't put it into practice.
Did someone inspire you?
I inspire myself.
Okay.
I'm a pagan.
Yes.
I was born
So
a
no-
pagan. I've been brought up as a pagan. So I worship the elements of the earth. I have no God. I am God. I am the devil. This is heaven and this is hell. It's how you want to walk it. Simple as that.
Yes.
Without clothes, everybody's the same, aren't they?
Absolutely, yes.
I'm being shouted at.
All right then.
Good day.
Good day.